Okay. Is it going? I think it is. Hey, are you going? Are you gone, girl? What's up? Okay, here we are. It's Friday. Word up, yo. So, oops, monkey's not quite in frame. Oh my goodness, there we go. Oh, can't have that. So yeah, here, welcome to Houston Have a Problem. We are on episode 529. Oh my god, I still have not gotten to the post office to mail all the show 500 prizes yet. Okay, I need to make sure I can do that. Yeah, welcome. Interesting thing, there was a court order to modify the bankruptcy plan, the plan of reorganization, in the Bed Bath & Beyond bankruptcy case. Now, this is something that the shills for a long time were telling us is impossible. You cannot modify the plan. Granted, the modification just allowed for a settlement to be reached between the debtor, BBBY, and a lady who sued because she dropped a metal walk on her foot in one of the stores. So, but still, it's a modification in the plan. And if you're saying that you can't have any modifications whatsoever, but the court just made a modification, then obviously the shills are wrong about that. As of me starting now, I have not seen anything come out about the fact that it's been 1 year since they canceled the equity on everybody and withdrew the shares. But, you know, again, Wednesday, the 23rd, marks 1.5 years since filing for bankruptcy. So that is the date that the creditors would be allowed to start dictating how the bankruptcy plan goes and submitting their own plan. So let's see what happens. Is there any other tinfoily things I was supposed to add, monkey? I cannot remember. Hey, little kitten. What's up, dude? Wanna come? Wanna come say hi? Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Oh, I know. You just want to explore. So I'm going to pick you up because you're right here. And everyone loves a kitten, right? Go up there. Yeah. Yeah. There she is. Yeah, so kitten printed off my brain, so I'm just gonna do that. Okay. That's off. Is yesterday's off? Yesterday's is off. Whew, we're good. We're good. Kitten butthole next to the head. Let's hit the chats because it's Friday, so give it to me. A passing cloud is blurst. Chris Taylor is second. Passing cloud. When BBBY done, I want off Mr. Bones Wild Ride. Seriously. I was hoping for something this afternoon. That didn't happen. So now I guess I hope for something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, the kitten is like acting as lumbar back here. What's up, dude? What's up? Little kitten head poking out of my back. Kevin Renan, happy birthday, dude. Matthew Jackson, got a question. In every town, there's the nationwide BP, Shell, etc. selling gas for $3.29. Now, the same towns will have a local mom and pop station selling gas for $2.59. This is mind-boggling to me. How? Depends on the state you are in. If you are in some states where they have multiple distributors for gasoline, there's a lot of competition and gas prices are lower. So about 20 years ago, when Bush took over, 20-something years, 24 years ago, the cheapest gas in the country was in Georgia because Georgia had over 1,000 independent fuel distributors. Now, since then, the oil companies have managed to destroy the regulations that allowed that many independent fuel distributors. And some mom and pop fuel stations might have cheaper gas because they buy fuel far in advance. There was a farming co-op in Minnesota that when fuel in 1999 was 80 cents a gallon, the farming co-op got together and bought futures at that time at 80 cents a gallon, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of futures. So that fuel had to be delivered, they're talking 10 years out. That in 2008, when fuel was $4 a gallon, these farmers who were members of that co-op were still getting gasoline at 80 cents a gallon. So Southwest Airlines did the same thing back in the 90s. So when other airlines were having troubles in 2008, Southwest Airlines wasn't, because they had all this fuel that they had purchased as futures nearly 10 years earlier. So you might see some of the mom and pop places have done that. So maybe in 2020, when fuel prices bottomed out and they had a bunch of extra cash on hand, they bought futures that the big boys didn't do, because the big boys, Shell, BP, all those places, they just dictate what the price is going to be. So yeah, that might be another reason why you see it. And mom and pop gas places are always viewed as like, oh, maybe that gas isn't pure. People just kind of avoid them, even though it's the same exact gasoline, probably coming from the same exact refinery as the stuff at Shell or BP or Exxon. So those are the main reasons I can figure. Some of those folks might sell the gasoline a little bit of a loss, because their big business is getting people to come in and buy like smoothies and things. So maybe they're selling it at a little loss too. But yeah, those are the reasons I can think of. It's funny. My mom was just in New Jersey for a wedding this week, and fuel was like $2.89 a gallon or something. Here in Washington, it's $4, maybe a little more in some places. And they're trying to get everybody to vote to get rid of the fuel tax. So there's like a 50-cent fuel tax in Washington that pays for roads and things like that. And it's funny because like, oh, our gas is so expensive because of fuel tax. But it's not like $1.20 more expensive. It's 50 cents. So if the gas in New Jersey is $2.89, shouldn't that mean if you tack on 50 cents that it would be $3.39, like almost $1 cheaper than it is right now? It has all to do with lack of competition, gaming the system, and fucking everybody over. Exxon doesn't buy fuel. They don't. They own the oil fields. They own the big giant ships that ship it. They own the pipelines. They own the gas stations. They own the oil refineries. They are not going out in the market and buying fuel. They just suck it out of the ground, have a complete vertically integrated system to process it, refine it, and send it to the shops. And so, oil could be $10 a barrel. It does not matter to Exxon, because they're vertically integrated. It costs what it costs, right? Which is why they can do things like make $100 billion in profit a year. So, yeah, they're gouging. That's what it is. Matthew Jackson. When you'd think the nationwide stations would get volume pricing, is it just candy, etc. sales making up the difference? Yep. Yeah. Dude, did you just poop? That was brutal. Don't close that thing. Goodness gracious. Yeah. The fuel stations generally don't make money for the most part off the fuel. They make money off of the convenience store. That's where all their profit is. So it's kind of like movie theaters. Movie theaters don't make money off the movie. They make money off the candy sales and soft drinks and popcorn and stuff like that. It's a dumb system is what we have. Tate won the super chats. I missed the beginning. Did talk about Orange Dude canceling all interviews? EFF Corporate Media. I did not talk about him canceling all interviews. I had not heard that he did. I knew he canceled a bunch. Especially this week he had... was on Monday. His brain turned off at that Q&A in Florida, or in Pennsylvania, and then he just like grooved to the tunes for 40 minutes, and then he had he went to the economic club in Chicago and got laughed at. And like they were like literally just belly laughing at him. That didn't go well. And then he had the Univision thing yesterday, where a whole bunch of Hispanics were just like. And they asked him some really hard questions the journalists have not bothered trying to ask him yet. So those are three big whoopsies that he had this week. I would not doubt if he's canceling all of them. Because, right? He had already canceled some. I know he canceled like a CNBC interview. And a couple others. Julia says, read recent PP post. Recent PP post. Let's search for some PP. PP. There you go, PP show. Recent PP post. That page doesn't exist. Okay, so wait. Oh, this is the fake PP show that I just got on. What the hell? How did I get to the fucking... Where the hell? Oh my gosh. Why is it not allowing me to go to the PP show? You're not searchable anymore, PP? What's going on? There we go. Okay. Here we are. DD from Whoop Ass. Read the title. Bed Bath & Beyond exits Chapter 11 after being acquired. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Okay. Article was quickly and quietly removed. The street is funded by Bed Bath & Beyond exit Chapter 11. This year alone, 10 will know. Okay. So this was on the street, huh? Steve's business, Bed Bath & Beyond file Chapter 11. No, this person's wrong because that's a different Bed Bath & Beyond. Interesting. Okay. So. Okay, because you can't see who the author is on this. Interesting. I wonder if Internet Archive was able to already get that. Street.com. Okay, that is from a baker retail giant. Okay, this is different because this is not the actual same retail giant. Different company entirely. So all that is from September, January, April. 20 hours ago as they got the return physical stores. Everyone in a shopping center thought it might be another time. Okay, so this, here we go. Bed Bath & Beyond exits Chapter 11 bankruptcy after being acquired. So it is here. After 50 years business, Bed Bath & Chapter 11 bankruptcy last April. Forced closed all retail stores. At the time filing, the company had 360 Bed Bath stores, 120 buyouts. The exit bankruptcy, Bed Bath & Beyond needed to find a buyer or would go out of business, cease to exist. It was $1.8 billion deep in long-term debt. In the meantime, obtained $240 million loan. June 2023, Home Goods bought Overstock, acquired Bed Bath & Beyond through winning sale bid, $21 million, which paid off. Which paid only cash. Transaction excluded Bed Bath & Beyond's brick-and-mortar business and the Bye Bye Baby brand. Its acquisition ended all physical Bed Bath locations. Bed Bath announces partnership with rival retailer. Okay. Okay, so this article is messed up. So they're saying Bed Bath & Beyond BBBY and the Container Store TCS announced, but it's not BBBY, it's Beyond. It's BYON who is doing the thing with the Container Store. So my guess is that the person who wrote this article has no fucking clue what's going on. That would be my guess. Yeah. So, Fernando Tronco doesn't know what's going on. That's my conclusion. Because he's confusing Overstock Beyond with BBBY, the shell company that's left. So, womp womp. Oh well. Tanny Oneness Super Chats. Guess Trump does DJ at Mar-a-Lago. The playlist we heard in that swing awkward 39 minutes is what he plays. Ave Maria 5 times. Just get in there. Tanny Oneness Super Chats. TJT taking on purpose to drum up base on stolen election and or banking, all on the money from donations or selling crypto. I find it interesting that if you buy his Liberty whatever coin, you're not allowed to sell it. But the creators of the coin can sell whenever they want, which is a beautiful way to rug pull everybody. Because the creators will maintain 20% ownership in the coin, and they'll just dump it on the market and be like, peace, you guys can sell whenever you want now. So, yeah. Where was I? Colin, pour one out for this week's options. Couple more for next week, and grab a couple for November 15th because why not? So probably about 20,000 in GME options closing in the money at least. So that's about 2 million shares. Oh my god, I totally forgot. I was gonna buy right at close some options for next week, and I just forgot. I got distracted, and I was looked at my clock, and it was 1:02 p.m. and I was like, I need to set alarms for these things because I just, you know. Merventor Studios realize why I get so angry about politics is that the person that raised me to have morals, principles, and standards seemingly has none herself. I'm extremely disappointed. She'll probably vote for Trump again. I am fortunate that no one in my family votes for Republicans. Well, I have a brother that does, but we don't really talk much about him. But yeah, my dad said the last time he voted for a Republican was Richard Nixon, and he promised himself he would never vote for one again. And as far as I know, he has not. He just doesn't get it. You know, he reads books and just doesn't get it. Martin Weiss just saw Lee, important film, amazing Kate Winslet. I have never heard of Lee. Kate Winslet movie Lee. What's it about? Lee, story of fashion photographer, fashion model, who became an acclaimed correspondent for Vogue during World War II. Oh, cool. All right. I'll check it out. Frozen State Productions. What have the results been? Smashing things into the moon to prove it's hollow or not? It's not hollow. It has a very small core. Very thick crust, and it's not very dense. It's about the density of the surface of the Earth. Because the belief is that there's a proto-Earth existed, a Mars-shaped proto-planet smacked into proto-Earth with a pretty hard glancing blow, which splattered a whole bunch of material out into orbit, then coalesced and formed the moon. So basically it splashed out the Earth's crust, and the crust formed its own little moon, and that's why it has the same density as the Earth's crust, which is not particularly dense considering that the core has a density that's like 4 or 5 times that. So there you go. Not hollow. Frozen Productions. Why do all these rich people and entertainers think Elon is smart and a financial genius? Because he pays them to? Zoom go do nub. Had a 40-cent difference between gas at interstate versus in town the other week. Every time it hits low, jumps right back up. Guessing oil markets are janky, or it's just greed? Yes. Although the futures guys are all thinking that it's going to go down to $50 a barrel or lower for a couple of reasons. And the big one is probably that Saudi Arabia is going to pump up production because they really hate Russia right now. So if they hate Russia, they're just going to put oil out there like crazy, drop prices so Russian prices collapse, and then Russia can't buy weapons from Iran. And that seems to be kind of what they're doing. Cameron Mirza Super Chats. Monkey Treat. Also, CoffeeZilla is doing a piece on Andrew Tate and his new coin called Daddy. Oh. Yeah. Oh, did you hear the magic sound? Did you? You Pavlovian response, you? All right. Take that weird looking thing. Get up here. Crunch on that. There you go. Pig ears are less stinky than the stinky beefs, that's for sure. Or the stinky chickens. I'm sure whatever Andrew Tate coin is going on, that it's just going to get seized by the Romanian government. And that's that. But yeah, okay, I'll have to check out CoffeeZilla's piece on Tate. He was just a piece of shit. Colin, thoughts on North Korea sending troops to Russia? Yeah. So if Russia is taking foreign troops, not talking like a legion, like a foreign legion where independent citizens volunteer, but actually like troops that are in the North Korean military into occupied Ukraine, then Ukraine should be allowed to be allowed to invite and have any fucking military they want in their country to help them out. So why not? I'm okay with that. If if I were president and Ukraine was like, hey, U.S. government, would you have a couple aircraft carrier groups and a whole bunch of F-35s just wipe out the entire Russian front line for us? I'd be like, totes, let's do it. Because the North Koreans are there, right? So if North Korean soldiers and Syrian soldiers and possibly Iranian soldiers are all fighting there, as officially under their banners, then why not have a bunch of F-35s come and wipe out the entire front lines? That just seems completely logical to me. So I'm okay with that. Screw Kim Jong-il. Frozen Productions. An airplane, car, house deteriorates fairly rapidly on Earth. How long before we see deterioration on moon rovers and other things we left on the moon? Well, you don't get things like rust, and you don't have generally, you don't have wind erosion or anything like that because there's no atmosphere to blow stuff around. The erosion of objects on the moon come from two sources: the sun, so the sun beating down and basically heating up a lot and cooling down a lot, heating up a lot and cooling down a lot. So you can get all sorts of crazy thermal expansion fractures in material that way. If it doesn't have a very good thermal range stability, and a lot of things over a long period of time do not. And then micro meteorites. So there's pieces of dust, right? And that piece of dust, when you look up in the sky and you see, a meteor show, those are like little tiny pieces of dust hit the atmosphere, burst into flames, vaporize, and that's it. On the moon, there's no atmosphere. So those tiny little things that are traveling like 15,000 miles an hour, 20,000 miles an hour, or more, depending on where they're coming from, smack into stuff. And I don't tell you, like, if you've been in a sandstorm and you've been hit with sand going like 60 miles an hour, it hurts, right? Now imagine a grain of sand going 20,000 miles an hour. It'll put a hole in you, and it puts a hole in little rocks. Like, if you've ever had a chance to look at a moon rock, you look at it and go, oh, look at all those little holes. Those are all micrometeorite craters. They're not gas pockets from like volcanic rocks. Those are astrobleams. Those are from tiny little pieces of dust from space hitting a hard rock at thousands of miles an hour and blasting a little hole in it. So things that are left out for very long periods of time, we're talking like billions of years, will end up having lots and lots of pockmarks from micrometeorites as the moon, orbits the Earth and passes through the solar system, gathering dust from comet tails and stuff from, the formation of our solar system and whatnot. So yeah, that's basically how things will break down on the moon. There you go. Frozen Productions. How long does a black hole exist once it starts gobbling stars and such? Squirrel. How long before ICANN owns 100% IP via divvy reinvestment, and what happens? As far as we know, black holes have never evaporated. Hawking radiation suggests that there's ability for black holes to evaporate, but it would do so slowly that it would be immeasurable to human experience to see that. That's the result of the random occurrence of matter. So matter blinks into existence, usually has to do with gamma radiation or something like that, where you have a piece of antimatter and a piece of matter. And if they happen to blink close to the event horizon, the piece of antimatter has a chance of falling into the black hole and annihilating a piece of matter, thus making the black hole, 1 proton lighter than it was before. The problem with Hawking radiation is that it can also split and have a piece of matter fall into a black hole and just add to the mass of the black hole. So that Hawking radiation to me is just kind of like, oh yeah, cool. That's a thought experiment, but mathematically it wouldn't make a difference whatsoever. It'd be like saying the Earth would cease to exist someday because pieces of antimatter end up on the Earth, vaporizing pieces of it. Like, that's not... Because also pieces of matter appear. So, cool. But yeah, as far as we can see, black holes have existed the entire time and none have disappeared. And then was the other question? Oh, Carl Icahn. How long before Icahn owns 100% IEP via divvy reinvestment, and then what happens? Some are saying months. He's at 92%, something like that right now. So, yeah, months. So, cool. Works for me. But probably stupid. I ate a whole pie. Now I'm feeling irrational. P-I, pie. Nummy. Scott Pollan, new GameStop location in Berlin looks amazing. It has hangout spots, retro game stations, and interactive product stations. It gives off Japanese cafe vibes. I would like to see GameStop do some of those here in the States. Like, they got really cool one in Italy and Milan. They got a really cool one in Germany. Like, make some cool flagship stores here in the U.S., especially with real estate as cheap as it is right now. You can get some killer leases, or you can buy a really cool spot and make a really neat GameStop. I still think they need to do GameStop. So you have the store section, and then you have a sports room that is for competitive gaming. So you have an audience. You can have, Saturday leagues where a bunch of 7-year-olds come in and play each other in Fortnite or whatever, and they can win prizes. And then as they exit through the gift shop, they make their parents buy them stuff. It'd be great. And you can charge league fees and whatnot like you do through the Parks District. That would be, I think, a really incredible investment. You have training. You have guys that are like, pro-ams. You go to the golf club. You have the course pro, right? Like the pro golfer at the golf club. His job is to teach you how to play golf. You can have the course pro at a GameStop, right? This guy competes internationally in Call of Duty or whatever, and you come in, you teach classes, and like, oh, when you're, got to keep jumping. Serpentine, I don't know. Whatever it is they do. Kevin Rannon, only 2 likes so far? What the hell? Yeah, only 2 likes, man? Only 2? Get in there. Frozen Tate Productions. Is it possible to manipulate gravity? Saw a video on the missing Flight 370. People on the video claim to have we have tech to capture objects in flight. There's orbs circling it and then gone. Not that I've heard of. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of any witnesses actually seeing Flight 370 because it disappeared over the ocean, I believe. No. Gravity is always attractive and it's mass dependent. So the only way to manipulate gravity is bring in something with a lot more mass to affect the sphere of influence of the object or thing that you are gravitationally bound to. So the only way, like, Earth's gravity is affected is via the moon, right? And the moon is 1/88th the size of the Earth. So it's really tiny. It's 400,000 miles away. If the moon was much closer, it would have more effect upon us locally, and we'd have giant tides and things like that. But because it's 400,000 kilometers away. No, we don't have any like magic gravity gun or anything like that. Because imagine you do have a gravity gun, right? You can affect gravity. You go pew pew, and you can slurp something in. Gravity is always attractive. So if your gravity gun is making this jet want to pull towards you, that's going to make the gravity gun also want to pull towards the jet. So you're just going to be creating a missile at that point. They're just going to collide with each other, and then that's going to be it. Unless you somehow anchor it really hard to the Earth, but we don't see any big, giant gravity guns anchored to the Earth anywhere. So There you go. Scott Paul in Houston. I was hanging out with Dr. Thaler this week and did some observing of that comment. Headed to Arizona and New Mexico next month. Going to try and visit Kip Peak, Lowell, and Feeler Spots. I've got a friend who operates a solar scope at Lowell in Tucson. That's a Tucson, right? Yeah, do it. If you go to, you can also, if you're passing through New Mexico, go to Apache Point. That's where the University of Washington's telescope is. Oh crap, what's that telescope called? I think it's just called Apache Point. So yeah, head there. I don't know. Be like, hey, I know a guy who did an observing run here in 2009. And they'll be like, cool. Sir Alert, Houston. When stock market collapse, waiting sucks. The SPY, I believe the Buffett index is at 200% now. It was at 197 last week. The SPY looking like it wants to cross 600. Insane. Do you know what the Buffett index is? Warren Buffett basically says there should be a 1-to-1 ratio between GDP and value of the U.S. stock market. And when it's 1-to-1, you have a very healthy market. When the GDP is worth more than the stock market, you buy lots of stocks because it wants to trend back to 1. If the GDP is worth way less than the stock market, right? You want to sell your stocks because it's going to crash and trend back to 1 again. Right now, we're at 2-to-1. So it's 200% the GDP. And according to Buffett, that is wholly unsustainable, which is why he's been selling stock like crazy and amassed, $300 billion in cash at this point? He dumped all of his Bank of America. He's just sitting back and waiting because he knows this thing's got to come down. And when it does, he'll scoop it all up at the bottom and write it back up again. Because that's how you compound, right? You're passing cloud. Word up. Word's the word, man. I just, the whole thing reset again. Okay. A1NIBN89. Houston, what do you think Kamala's biggest weaknesses are when it comes to being a potential president? Probably biggest weakness is that she's a neocon, like all modern Democrats. And neocons will do deregulation of things that lead to long-term consequences. Think getting rid of Glass-Steagall in 1999, long-term consequences, right? Think getting the 1996 Telecommunications Act. So we had a regulation across media. You couldn't own too many of billboards. You couldn't own too many radio stations. You couldn't own too many TV stations. You could operate, 2 TV stations and 2 radio stations in the same market, but you couldn't do any more than that. And if you owned a TV station or radio station, you couldn't own a newspaper. And if you owned a newspaper, you could only own up to 8 newspapers or whatever. They had all these different rules about how much you could own of these media sources around the country. And the 1996 Telecommunications Act was probably the single worst piece of legislation that Bill Clinton signed. It was terrible. It basically gave a free-for-all for media companies. And what happened is all media is owned by 6 companies now. You have giant television networks that own giant radio networks, that own giant movie studios, that own giant billboard companies. That it wiped out the competition. And as a result of wiping out the competition, it destroyed hyper-local news sources. Think your community newspaper, right? So if your community newspaper gets gobbled up by some giant company, the giant company goes, oh, it's too expensive to have these reporters report on, the city council. So let's just fire them, and then we'll make the local newspaper just carry a bunch of banal national headlines from AP or whatever, and then people stop buying the local paper and it vanishes. Local papers since 1996 have died at insane rates across the country because of that consolidation by these big media companies. To me, that's the big problem with neocons in general. So I'm hoping she doesn't fall prey. That maybe she's learned those lessons. She does. Back in July, when she became the front runner and then nominee, she was her campaign was doing a really good job of distancing themselves from that part of the party. But in the last couple of weeks, it seems like they've succumbed to that side of the party. So I'd say that's probably the biggest weakness. But it might have to do with the way elections work. Like you rally the base, and then you have to appeal to the broad spectrum when you get the general election. But I think she already had the broad spectrum by rallying the base back in July. She didn't need to run to the center to appease, independent voters. They usually go towards whoever they feel is the stronger candidate. Undecided voters eventually just follow whoever they think is like fuerte strong, right? Like, I take no shit. I will do this and I'll lead this country. And the undecided voters are like, they made the decision for me, right? And so if all of a sudden you seem a little waffly towards the last day's election, that can really affect your ability to get these last few undecided voters, because undecided voters are just idiots to begin with. If you're undecided at this point, you have no idea what's going on, and you probably shouldn't vote. But they're going to vote anyways, and they're going to get in there and hem and haw and select one way or the other, and it's going to be basically the last positive thought they had in their head. That's going to be who they vote for. So I think Harris should stick a little more to populist, leftist measures in this case. Say private health insurance sucks, because everyone thinks private health insurance sucks. 70-something% of this country, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter, want national health care. Talk about how we need, good gun control, because 90% of the country, 89% wants good gun control. Talk about, how we want abortion to be legal across the country, because 75% of the country wants abortion. These are issues you can lead on that have huge, broad appeal that are not centrist. And I think she'd be better served if she did that. Raf Aloha from Washington. Oh, fuck, I forgot to do the raffle thing again. Oh my gosh, why do I keep forgetting to do this, monkey? I get done with the show, and then I run away, because I have to go to work, and then I get home, and I don't just do the stupid raffle thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess I will do the raffle on a Monday show, because I'm staring right at the list. This is the list right here. I'm staring right at it, and I've done nothing about the charity raffle. So I need to do that. And you know what? Julio messaged me like 10 times the other night. He's like, raffle. I was like, totally, but I was in bed by that point, so I didn't do anything about it. So, man. Okay, Properly Stupid. They should have told that lady to just walk it off. Humor cures everything. I like it. Speaking of humor, apparently Jason Blackwell is having a hard time posting. I don't know if YouTube has had enough of his puns yet. But I don't know. I'll have to check and see if for some reason some put him on the bad list. But I can't imagine why anyone would have. Which reminds me, he did send me a what 3 words, and I opened it up, but I didn't actually see what it was. It is Prestige Moving Mutual Property Advisors. And it was golf, right? That's the one you sent me, not golf. Where'd you go? Deleting. It is Golf Music Hammer. Golf Music Hammer. So, Mutual Property Advisors, Maricopa County. So I'm in Phoenix, next to a highway, in a giant Lego Phoenix. Why am I here? Why'd you take me here? To Prestige Moving Mutual Property Advisors. I have no idea why I'm here. And I don't have Street View, I think, in this, do I? I do not have Street View in this. So, thank you, Jason, for the totally random... Oh, wait! Houston Design Group. There we go. There's a Houston... Yeah, maybe that's why. It says Houston Design Group, but it's in Phoenix. All right. Maybe from here you can see the sign. Maybe the sign is really cool in Google Earth or something. So if I go Google Earth, I type in Houston Design Group Phoenix. Right? That should work. Let's run Google Earth. Oops. Yeah, go there. Bam. Okay, so there's Houston Design Group. Can I get a little dude in here? I can. Let's get a little dude in there. Let's see what we got going on. Houston Design Group. IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome. Okay. And you can't even see Houston Design Group. That is a right shame. That is a shame right there. All we have is irritable bowel syndrome. Well, c'est la vie. Swing and a miss. All right. We did that one. Belgian whales. So it seems I'm not the only one who thinks Ian Carroll turned fishy. So yesterday, the account Ian was championing, the black insurrectionist account that was claiming, like, had all this evidence that Walls had been fired for touching kids or whatever. The account vanished. It's gone. They self-deleted. They weren't removed from Twitter. They just went, oh, the heat is too high. My guess is that they got contacted by the FBI or something. And we're like, oh shit, I'm going to go to prison for forging documents. Let's delete everything. Ha ha ha. I totally think that was a Kremlin account. That it was 100% Kremlin account. They just did a really, really poor job of forging their documents. And if you're going to forge documents to frame somebody for felony, you're going to go to prison for that. That is falsifying evidence and framing people for felony, which is a felony itself. So if they are an American and they're doing that, they got a visit from the FBI. If they're foreign, they're like, oh, the jig is up. Boop. We will wait a while. We'll make this account reappear under a new handle with already all those followers, and then we'll use it all over again. And that's kind of what they do. Oren Sanders is here. Hello. Just Bodies. MHM. Shitting himself, both figuratively and literally. Shitting himself figuratively and literally. Okay. Martin Weiss. Why is gravity so cheap? Because it's a mass product. Bye-bye Shorters removes ads? I don't know what that is. Mr. E-Machine. When you say that everything has to be wrapped up by next Wednesday, does that mean even if RC has a plan for the company? No. What I mean is if the debtors want their form of the bankruptcy plan to be A-OK, complete, high five, we did it, yo, we reorganized, they need to have everything wrapped up by Wednesday, because after Wednesday, the creditors have the ability to determine how the bankruptcy is going to go. They can submit their own plan at that point. 18 months after filing bankruptcy, the creditors, if nothing's been resolved or things haven't been resolved, they have the option. They don't have to do it, but if they can be like, yeah, this isn't going fast enough, we want this to happen, they can make it happen. So that's what happens on the 23rd. And if RC's behind the creditors, if he's the money behind 6th Street, then he makes the plan anyway. Julius Miami, freaking Fernando. Yeah. To anyone that says hit the like, hit the like. Don Caesar Shadem. The moon used to be hollow, but now it's full of compacted Bigfoots and skinwalkers. Martin Weiss. Oh shoot, I missed a super chat from Off the Grid Hero. What were we thinking? Next for Hydrocarbons, huge lawsuit with all bad names. There needs to be one, I believe. I do think that there needs to be a lawsuit. I think first you sue University Lands. That's the easiest one to get disclosure from, because they are a public entity and they're required to give you information of all their communications and all that stuff. And if from that communications, right, you get something from a market maker, a competitor, a hedge fund, putting their thumb on the scale and telling University Lands to strip them of this lease, then you have right there, you've got the ability to pursue RICO. And that is enough for you to sue in federal court those other companies who were blatantly working to put you out of business by taking the University of Lands contract. And if they've got connections to FINRA, etc., then you now have wide open. FINRA has to give you discovery for their communications with those groups, right? So, because it all becomes part and parcel. They aren't part of the law. They aren't, necessarily a named a defendant in the lawsuit. But if they have information pertaining to a named defendant, they have to provide that as a witness, and you can compel that via subpoena. So, yeah. Sue everybody, right, monkey? Sue her. Hey, fat cat, what's up, dude? You here to hang out? We haven't done it in a while. We haven't done this. Cattail karaoke happening right here. Who's a big boy? Who's a big fat boy? You're a big fat boy. Yes, you are. Yeah. Merman and I are joking that there's no way an eagle could pick this cat up. he's safe as far as the flying predators are involved. Yeah, you can sit right there. Cool. Perfect. Okay. Martin Weiss says Trump stopped paying his makeup guy. Seems like the spray-on paint job is getting worse. Hard edges on the sides and white eyes and eyebrows. Yuck. I thought before he did a spray tan, but now it looks like he's literally putting concealer all over his face. It's a different tone. I thought he just like got naked and someone sprayed him down. But yeah, he's had really, really hard borders. He doesn't quite get into the hairline because I think if he touches the hairline, then the hair turns that color. Just, people, just don't. There you go. Poor taste in porn. Sorry, bad news, bud. The moon is a hologram. Oh, man. Probably stupid. What happens to matter when it's destroyed? What it doesn't, what it doesn't matter anymore. President Productions. Why does Tate live in Romania? On the run from U.S. Easier crime. On the run from the U.K. He was charged with rape in the UK and facing an investigation there. So he moved to Romania. And when he moved to Romania, on the internet, he was like, Romania is the best. You can just pay off all the police and do all the corruption you want. This country is a bunch of bogus losers. And apparently he didn't pay off the police enough because then they arrested him and charged him with crimes. Right, buddy? Right? Look at you. Look at those little yellow round eyes, huh? Yeah. Oh. Cookity, 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 cookity. Yeah. Yeah. He's a little fat man. Ooh, Martin Weiss. Chipmunk isolating time slot. Come on. No, I need you to highlight. That's what I need you to do. And then click on that. And then we copy. And then we go back to what 3 words? Shaboink. Did I turn off? Okay. Did I turn off the Batman thing? Crap, I can't remember if I turned off the Batman thing or not. Oh well. Boom, boom, boom. Chipmunk isolating time slot. Yeah, that's what it did. Blue Lake. Blue Lake. Blue Lake. Green Solutions. Blue Lake. Green Solutions. Blue Lake. Bjornfjord Geothermal Power Station. Must be in Iceland? Oh, Northern Iceland. Okay. So we're in Northern Iceland. We're at Blue Lake and Green Power Solutions. Is there a yellow Maven Nature Baths? There's probably a cheaper version of Blue Lagoon that you can go to. A lot of these nature baths are from like geothermal plants, geothermal water sources, and it's like spill over, and so you go and you hang out. So yeah, if you're gonna go to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland and pay, I don't know, $200, you may as well go to one of the smaller ones they have in other communities and hang out. My guess is this is probably also a geothermal thing. So, yeah. Why are you yelling, cat? No one wants to listen to you. Shut up. No. He's just getting Barner Flog Geothermal Power Station. There you go. All right. Iceland. Bam. Mr. E Machine, why does the deficit keep going up? Because we have too many tax loopholes for rich people, and we have high interest rates, which means the debt we have right now we're paying a huge amount of interest on. We're paying almost $1 trillion a year in interest right now on the debt we have, which is, it's $1 trillion deficit basically. The Trump tax cuts eliminated a whole bunch of tax money from corporations and high value individuals, which also added about $1 trillion a year to the deficit. So we got $2 trillion a year just from that alone. Plus, we don't adequately fund the things we use. We spend $1 trillion a year in the military, and we make cuts everywhere else. And then those cuts result in disasters oftentimes. So, like, we make a cut in pandemic response, and then a pandemic hits, and it costs us $20 trillion. Things like that. Those are reasons why we still have a deficit. When we didn't have a deficit, back in the late 90s, the year 2000, was because we raised the marginal tax rate on high-income individuals to 39 point whatever percent. And it took Al Gore to cast the tie-breaking vote on that. And all of a sudden we were paying down debt. We were having a couple $100 billion a year in surplus and paying off debt. And then George Bush got elected, and the first thing he did was that silly $300 tax credit for everybody, which eliminated the surplus we had, and we automatically went back into debt again. So we did it once, almost 30 years ago, and ever since we've not been able to get back to a balanced budget. Because George Bush destroyed the economy in 07, 08, and then Obama had to spend a whole bunch of money restoring the economy, because you have to do incredible amounts of debt spending in order to bring the economy back online and get people working and get capital flowing through the system. You got to do bailouts, you got to purchase and acquire entire companies and save the industries and do all that stuff. It's very expensive. But then, he brought the deficit down. It's getting shrinking pretty much every year of his presidency. And then Trump got into office, did his tax cuts, and it just went right back up again. So that's why. Hey, man. You just going to sit there and breathe heavy? Okay. All right. Huff and puff. KYP, late but here. Good. Off the grid, if Trump won president, can he step in this and market change everything? Help us, AMC, GME? I mean, he probably could, but he won't. He wouldn't do that at all, because the guys who are behind these market makers, they're the major contributors to his campaigns. So he's not going to do anything. He will rug pull everybody on DJT and then let them do whatever they want. He literally gutted the SEC when he was president last time around. And they just didn't even bother trying to hire new employees for 4 years, because they knew that they were just going to let them go anyway. So no. Lone Wolf, I can't imagine that the North Korean troops are in any better shape physically and weapons than the Russian troops. In other words, cannon fodder. I mean, a whole bunch of 4 foot tall dudes are going to have the same exact experience against a suicide drone as a buff, strong, 6'5", muscle bound, paratrooper. So, the way wars will be fought from now on is going to be drone warfare, and it's just going to target humans and weapon systems, and there's not much we're going to be able to do about it until we develop some sort of system that can more easily identify these little things flying around on radar and take them out. And then you just make so many of them, you overwhelm the systems, and that's it. So yeah, warfare is going to be just awful in the future. terrible, just straight up terrible. It's terrible now. Iggy Lemon, Go Global versus Dream on Me Incorporated letter. Motion to file motion for summary judgment in your inbox. Oh, really? Okay. So Go Global. So who's filing the summary judgment? Go Global's filing the summary judgment, or Dream on Me is filing the summary judgment? Let's see here. Come on, open up screen. Sorry, dead guy monitor just crapped out on me again. Come on, dead guy monitor. You got this. You got this, buddy. All right. So go there. Go to messages. Go to Iggy. Let me see shipping. Go Global. Here we go. All right. Go Global LLC versus Dream on Me Industries. Dear Judge Subramanian, this firm represents plaintiff Go Global Retail LLC in the above referenced action, and we write jointly with defendants Dream on Me Industries Incorporated and Dream Incorporated to request an extension of the deadline to submit moving papers for summary judgment November 4th to December 6th. This is the first request for an extension of the summary judgment deadline. The parties have met and conferred, and all have consented to the proposed extension. The parties presently have no scheduled appearance before the court. The parties have been cooperating and working at a breakneck pace to meet the present October 21st, 2024 fact discovery deadline. To date, the parties have exchanged over 60,000 pages of document discovery and completed 5 depositions within the past 3 weeks, including blah, 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 representatives for plaintiffs and defendants and related to the non-party witnesses. There remain outstanding depositions for 6 more necessary dependents, all of which have been scheduled and will be completed in the next few weeks, despite significant scheduling challenges given both federal and religious holidays. Although the parties are still engaging in post-deposition document discovery, that discovery has been limited. The parties will not require an extension of the fact discovery deadline. All right, so basically they're saying we're getting through this thing. We have more work we got to do. However, the deadline for submission summary judgment motions is currently set for November 4th, only 2 weeks after the close of fact discovery. Parties do not think it's feasible to submit their representative motions of summary judgment because they basically they're saying that we have a lot of shit we got to get through. We're not going to have time to do this whole summary judgment thing. Court is aware the court parties are aware the court has previously stated no further extension of the fact discovery deadline will be ordered for any reason. And okay, so basically they're like, we need 1 more month to go through all this crap. All right, word. Thank you, Iggy. Mr. E Machine, what if RC is behind the creditors? Does that mean we win no matter what? That's exactly what it means. If he's behind the creditors, he's good to go. Hopeful Pomelo 4488 Piccolo. Trump does his own hair and bronzer application. Unfortunately, yes. Brandon Wells is here. Hello. Dimitri Maximoff. So was Rosa just a plant? All this time waiting, and I know you kept saying she's busy, but to wait this long when she was gung-ho at the beginning, I don't think she's a plant. I think she is incredibly busy and has a life to live. I mean, she's Palestinian, and she's very involved in the effort to end the war in Palestine. And I think for her, that takes precedent over everything because her family's lives are at stake, right? And I totally get that. She got married. She had to take multiple bar exams. Her business probably took off. I think she's just a very busy lady, and if she's got time and energy to devote herself to it, I think she will. But she obviously has to triage situations, and coming on my show is not at the top of that list. I would love for her to come back someday, but she can do what she's an adult woman. She can do what she wants to do. Do we max up the powers to be? Come and tell her to shut the fuck up. I don't think she's the type of lady who would listen to the powers to be. So I think she'd be like, whatever, dude. Because she's doing that to powers that be all over the place all the time anyway. Cat, your butt is in the way. I cannot read the chats here. Says 54, Texas, Saudi Arabia both use desalination and have many empty oil wells. Why aren't we pumping the desalination waste into those oil wells? They already pump out. Why not pump brine back in? Not a clue. I mean, those wells are full of water anyway. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about the brine from desalination processes to know what they do with that stuff or why. Cat, your butt. I cannot scroll down further. 654 also AMC. That's still a thing. I don't see how it is. It's dead. Yeah. And cat, fucking move. I can't read. Okay. Yeah. Musk pushes debunk Dominion voting conspiracy. Will Dominion rename X back to Twitter when they own it? Dominion so thoroughly destroyed Fox that if they wanted to at this point, dude, stop doing all the things you're doing right now. That if they wanted to, they could easily probably own Twitter. So Dominion, do America and the world a favor. Sue Elon for the exact same reasons you sued and beat Fox and OAN and all those things. And get us Twitter back. Get us just get it back. You can sell it off to Mark Cuban or somebody after that, or turn it into a nonprofit. Don't care. But have those same attorneys that whoop the crap out of Fox whoop the crap out of Elon. Elon does not win lawsuits, which is pretty incredible for how rich he is. He's like Trump. He like loses every lawsuit that he gets into. And what are you doing, man? What are you are just? Did you get high without me realizing it? Jeez, my knees, cat. You freak. Yes, you are. But yeah, please by all means sue the crap out of him. How did I catch up to the chat already? There's 200 of you in here, and it's a Friday, and I'm at the end already. I'm an hour in. What the hell? What's going on, guys? How am I an hour into a chat on a Friday, and you guys just not talkative today? Just a lot of passive listeners. What's going on? All right, go. Citizen 54. There is some documentation on it in Texas. Since desalination in Texas uses brackish water to desalinate into drinking water, they are thinking about doing it geology-wise. Is this safe? Probably if it's incredibly saline where things can't live, microbes can't exist, it's probably okay to pump it in. We have issues with potable water being pumped into wells during droughts, and we've learned that potable water still has microbes, and those microbes get into the groundwater and then contaminate the groundwater in general. I remember a few years ago there was a big drought, I think in Maine, and some farmers in Maine were ordering truckloads of potable water and then dumping into their wells to like refresh their little aquifer, and it poisoned all their wells with bacteria. Even though they it's potable water, like you could drink it just fine, but if you let that water sit for days, weeks, whatever small minute bacteria were in there would multiply, and then it becomes bacterial water, and then their wells were poisoned, and you can never drink from them again. So there's probably issues with that. But if it's really, really briny, nothing lives in that salt. It just sucks the moisture out of it, and the cell walls break and all that stuff. So I suppose it's probably okay to do. I mean, Texas spent so much time injecting fracking, hydraulic fracking material into these wells anyway, that, your groundwater's all toxic to begin with. So, sure, why not? Yeah, why not? Also, it forces, if you put it into the wells, it also forces more oil back up to the top again, because the oil will float on top of that, and you might have regeneration of oil. Hey, kitten. What's up, dude? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, do karaoke. Come on. Here. Come on. Don't pretend like you're not going to do it, because I'm just going to pick you up and make you do it. Yeah, oh, you're gonna attack me? You're gonna attack me upside down. What are you gonna do? You're upside down. Oh no. Little cat tail karaoke. Yeah. Oh. Oh, you wanna hear the purrs? What, you gonna stop purring? You gonna stop purring? Oh, just this little bundle of littleness. Yeah. Oh. You're so tiny. Get over there. There's a bit of trace drugs on that thing. If you can, I don't know. I'm not allowed to get high yet, but nope, not in my drinking water. By something wrong with chat. Oh, maybe something is wrong with chat. Because Jason Blackwell hasn't been able to post anything. So I'm in live chat. So I don't know why. Are you guys gonna fight right in front of the computer like that? Just it might be a terrible idea. All right, well, I need to clean the desk off because now it's just going to be the sound of papers crinkling while the cats attack each other and groom each other. I don't know if we can get the kittens on there. Here, I'll give you a backdrop. There. The grooming is happening. Supa has pinned the kitten and is forcefully grooming her. Oh well, I can't hold that forever. Okay. Maybe the chat's broken? I don't know. I don't know. Since 54, Texas doesn't use seawater yet. They must have, maybe they have a brackish source of water that they're using. I don't know. Tennessee Shadem, small modular nuclear reactor stocks are ripping. Remember the list of fusion stocks I posted? Put them on your watch list. It's I'm sure we're going to finish that one. I think one is, how are you feeling on Senate races, particularly Montana, Florida, Texas, Nebraska? It looks like Nebraska is going to elect a socialist as their senator. So I think what's her face is toast in Nebraska. All red is polling really, really high in Texas and absolutely destroyed Ted Cruz in their... Kitty, don't step on the keyboard. That's the rule. Absolutely destroyed Ted Cruz in their debate. I mean, it was... Ted Cruz looked like a teeny tiny, weak little snickering doofus loser. And they're polling like pretty even in Texas, which is fairly incredible. Florida is a very weird situation because the reddest parts of the state are the ones that have been recently destroyed by the hurricane. And early voting numbers are really small right now. Whereas early voting in Pennsylvania, early voting in Georgia are like through the roof. Early voting at this time, last election in 2020, was at like 2 point something million in Florida, and they're at 600,000 right now. Don't step. God damn it, cats. Okay, they finally ran away. So it's interesting. In Florida, Rick Scott's kind of, it's about even. I don't know if they've done any big polling since the hurricanes. Let's 538 Florida polls. That's what we want. Okay, let's see if there's anything new. Okay, so Florida. This is from October 17th, presidential. 4752, 4452. So it's showing a little closer on a couple others. Redfield Winton has a 42-45 for Senate in Florida. Versus RMG Research, which has Scott with a majority. But I still think Florida is game. Because remember, abortion and weed are on the ballot in Florida. And that can skew things a lot. So, I look at that. And abortion's on the ballot in Nebraska. So, that's a big deal. But, yeah. Montana, people love Tester. But Montana is very red. So, will they go for the Montana born and raised guy who's a Democrat and they know, and he's a farmer and a rancher and he does all those things? Or Will they go for the guy who's, I think he's from California originally, but he moved to Montana, but he happens to have an R behind his name? That's, yeah. But I do think that Democrats can pick up Nebraska, Texas, and Florida right now. Let's look at. Have you done any polls in Texas since the debate? No. No polls in Texas since the debate. Okay. So I'll have to wait for one of those to come out and see how it did. Right now it's showing all red, 45-46. This is pre-debate, October 6th to 15th. So that's really close for Texas. That's insanely close. Trump is at 50% in the same morning consult poll, and Cruz is at 46, which means there's enough people who are like, Cruz. That could definitely be interesting. Julius says in Florida, Scott is toast, and Julius is in Florida. He would know. Colin's got coordinates for us. Where are we gonna go? Copy. Go there. Go there. Whoops. Go there first. Okay, we're gonna leave that. We're gonna go there. We're gonna fly around the world. We're gonna go smack dab into. We're in China. There's a ghost city. Where are we? Oh, there's a ship. There's a ship. The Love Boat right here. Metro Broadcast Corporation. What the hell are we looking at? There's a ship in the middle of the Wampa. What the hell? Someone like the luxury yacht so much they just put it in the middle of the city? Yeah, there's just a giant. It's got life tenders and everything up there. What the hell? What the hell? Is that as far as I can go on the road? Can I go this way? Can I go to the back side of the boat? Can I see what the name is? Can I see what that sign says? Can I zoom in? Warning. Private road, no parking, blah, blah, blah. This looks like it's a little shopping mall that is a boat. Now, is it a real boat that was dropped in, or is it a building made to look like a boat? That's what I want to know. Wampa, Hong Kong. Huh. How about that? So, I've never heard of this place in Hong Kong, but there you go. There's Wampa. And it's Christmas time, apparently. So, there you go. Huh. It's a big boat in the middle of a city for no reason. I like Colin. Don't you shade him. I'm not talkative because I have 26 years. I ate a gummy. I'm useless right now. Since before, someone has been posting on Wall Street Bet Sub about uranium going up soon due to low supply. I've seen these posts daily. Also, Amazon getting into small form factor reactors. Blue Origin lagging behind SpaceX now. I don't think Blue Origin is too concerned about what SpaceX is doing, namely because Blue Origin has their own little timeline. The new Glenn is taking a little longer than I thought they would, but I don't think Bezos believes in the move fast and break things method. I think he believes in getting it right the first time method. And they've not had any rocket accidents. They've had some engine test explosions, but they haven't had a rocket failure when they've done a launch so far. And so I think he's very much like, we're going to get it right the first time. We're going to make sure everything is perfect, and then when we launch something, we can collect our data from there. Whereas Elon just launches and then destroys half the things they use to measure, to figure out what's going wrong. And then they tweak some things and launch again, they destroy it, then launch again, they destroy it, and launch again, destroy it, which, is a method. But You could also just like look at previous tests in the past and be like, don't do that. So it's interesting. Yeah. Robert Hurt, who won the last drawing and who is the recipient of the next charity Tuesday? Voting already here. Cruz needs to retire. I've not done the drawing for last charity Tuesday. We're like 3 weeks in. I keep forgetting to make the list. I've not done a drawing for that. We are doing World Central Kitchen again for Halloween. So it's not going to be on Tuesday. It's going to be on Thursday, which is a Halloween. So I can wear a beautiful outfit and entertain you all. But the World Central Kitchen has been front and center for all of these hurricanes and flooding events and wars. And I know we did one for them like last spring, but they're one of the best charities in existence. So why not? They seem to be some of the best and fastest responders to crisis around the globe and just get people fed during these events. And they do an amazing job at it. So I am all for, helping them out. November will be our Toys for Tots charity. And then December will probably be St. Jude again. So we got some annual stuff coming through. Nikodaru, listening while at work, and hands are usually messy. Watched an interesting documentary on lab-grown super diamonds for use in manufacturing and superconductors. Good long-term investment. Yes, if you can make large enough lab-grown blue diamonds, you no longer need to use silica. So silicon chips are no longer needed, and which means also you don't need cooling systems, because diamonds have an incredible thermal stability band, meaning you can flash these things to 5,000 degrees, cool them to minus 200, and they're not going to fracture or break or have anything structurally happen to them, which is why they use diamonds as the lenses in the cameras for the probes they sent to like Mercury and go around the sun, because they could withstand several thousand degrees direct pointing at something. So if you can do a blue diamond, so blue diamonds are conductive. They're blue because they have boron in them. So you have boron impurities. You can use that blue diamond the same way you would for like a silicon chip. So silicon chips, generally you have pure silica on one side, and then you bond them with another chip that has silica with aluminum impurities, and that causes free electrons to flow back and forth, and that makes your transistor. You can do the same thing with blue diamonds. You can have the boron impurities and a pure diamond put together, and that can create your electrons to flow back and forth, and then it's thermally stable, so you don't need to have all the energy spent on cooling this stuff. So if you can create that there's your computer chips of the future right there. Did you just kick the crap out of that kitten and hiss a bunch, fat boy? Come on, right here. Come on, show everyone that beautiful girth. Oh, and maybe you can get attacked up here. Come on. Hey, where are you going? Oh, monkey's gonna have her turn? Okay. Colin says, lots of uranium pump posts all over Reddit, says 54. The pump posts are everywhere about everything. Needless to say them, the nuclear trip is NNE, SMR, and OKLO. The latter was brought public through Sam Altman's SPAC. Interesting. M says, Houston, focus. Your pets are compromise the fluidity of your show. Respectfully. It happens. 74, haha, Don, those gummies sneak up on you like Diddy at the party. I'm wondering if someone gave Trump some gummies on Monday at that town hall, and he's just like, no, music. Derek Horse Crumb Man needs feeding. 64, Blue Origin and SpaceX both go public. Who are you investing in? I like SpaceX, but it would benefit Elon, which is a dilemma cannot solve. Bezos isn't any better, just quieter. SpaceX has Starlink, and Starlink has the potential to, if they wanted to basically subvert all telecommunications on the planet and make it so that your phone runs off a satellite and you don't have to worry about where you have service and whatnot. And that could basically wipe out wired networks all over the place. Although there is lag and whatnot on that. But Bezos is focusing on mining the moon, which is where the quintillions of dollars are. You mine the moon, you get helium-3, we stop producing greenhouse gases here on Earth. Simple. Done. So that's the big thing. Like, Starlink can control potentially in the future a $200 billion telecommunications market. That's a lot of money, right? That's a boatload of money. Blue Origin can control a several $trillion a year energy market, basically wiping out Exxon, BP, Shell, Chevron, right? Amoco, Phillips, Gulf, Occidental, Mitsubishi Oil. Like, if there's a company that gets oil, gas, or coal, they will cease to exist the minute Bezos starts bringing back helium-3 to Earth. And all of the energy will be coming from that. So, long term, Blue Origin. Much more stable leadership, better work environment, and you don't have a crazy person running it. Those who shade them, 36% of the ETF DXYZ is SpaceX. Oh yeah, if you're gonna, there are ETFs that you can buy that have, early investors shares in them, and DXYZ is one of those. Am I at the end of the chat again? Like, what the heck? How am I doing that on a Friday? Those are with 200 people here. Yeah, Season 54. There were early accredited investors who were invited to invest X amount of dollars into SpaceX, and a lot of those investors took those shares and put them into ETFs. So you could literally have ownership of SpaceX shares in some of those ETFs. So yeah, you get in there and co-own it that way. Yeah. What's I mean, what are we gonna do? We can look at some maps. I don't know. Fly around the world. Check out this boat from the other side while I wait for you guys to get in here. CBRE hitting all-time highs again today. Getting tempting to grab more puts if it goes any further. That's the commercial real estate one, right? CBRE. Turn that off. Go to here. Go to CBRE. Commercial real estate services. Not now. Oops. I don't want that. I want the CBRE share price. There, 125. Holy cow. Where were we this summer when we were talking about it? Yeah. It was below 90 in the summer when we were talking about it, and it's just exploded. Poor K. Commercial real estate isn't worth dick right now. The world's largest commercial real estate services investment firm. The firm is ranked 135th. That is nuts. Because all that's happening is buildings are failing miserably, selling at auction for fractions of their original price, and not being leased out. So CBRE Group, what are you doing that's allowing for that? Did you do a bunch of stock buybacks? Is that why your stock price is high? CBRE, I bet they've done stock buybacks. CBR Group top stock buybacks, fine quarterly. Here we go. Yep, I've been doing some stock buybacks. Not that much though. $48 million worth. They did 20 million last year. They did 500 million in September of 2023. So, okay. So we've got, just in the last year, we got about $600 million worth of stock buybacks. That's not too much. But still a lot. I mean, since 2022, they've done well over $1 billion. Interesting. Okay. Approximately 1.4 billion of capacity remaining under the company's authorized stock repurchases, so they could still do another 1.4 billion of stock buybacks if they want to. that's my guess is why the price is going up. Is because they did stock buybacks, and when they report, it shows the earnings per share either remaining where it should be or improving a little bit. So we go, oh, I'm going to invest in that, and that caused the stock price to go up. Keegan Murphy, DXYZ is kind of sketchy. Do your research before getting excited about the SpaceX part. I did like. Okay, it's talking about more of the fusion companies. Colin, earnings next week, so not sure if it'll be enough to pump it further for CBRE. They didn't do very huge stock buybacks. Excuse me, recently. So, we'll see. Seagill, load up on GME calls out through December. Ready for the spark to kick this all off. Robert Hurt, did you see Gaddis give it up rooting against the Yanks? Oh, baseball. Yeah. Where are we sitting right now? I haven't had a chance to watch any games. Okay. All right, what we got? Yamamoto's tonight against you, Darvish. No, that was last week. What? That was past lineups. Why are you giving me past lineups? I want today's lineups. There we go. Okay. Nope, that's still past lineups, dude. Oh, because it. Okay. So, tonight, who we got? Why don't you give me the stupid lineups there? Okay. Game 5's going off right now for Mets and Dodgers. Man, Mets are up 10-2 right now. Holy smokes. Yep. Looks like Mets are coming back into this one. Okay, cool, excellent. Julio, Gifton, memberships. Keegan Murphy got one. Catzilla got one. Rose Moon got one. Jeff Riggs got one. Smurf Queef got one. Okay. Citizen4, isn't AST trying to launch its 5G satellite network? Starlink speeds seem to be limited to 100 megabits per second. 5G speeds beat this by far. 5G currently is a short wave antenna, I believe, and it doesn't have a very far broadcast. We're talking like less than a mile. So that was one of the problems with the wavelengths where 5G is that it just couldn't broadcast very far, so you need more antennas to do it. So they focused on like high traffic areas first, and then they started branching out further. I'm not sure what wavelength AST will be using for their 5G satellite network. If they call it 5G, if it's in the same wavelength band, because you would need like huge power sources to be able to broadcast from like a couple hundred miles up to the surface. Like satellite communications are pretty good, but there is going to be a lag just because it takes time to go through the processor, go to the antenna, broadcast up, hit that thing, broadcast out to where it needs to go, have them go through their processor, connect with the person, go back, acknowledge, right? So it's gotten a lot better. I don't remember about 15 years ago, Elliot Page, who was then Ellen Page, did all these commercials for Cisco about like satellite communications. You had these TVs that were set up with little cameras, and you'd have lots of like satellite interviews between, say, someone on CNN or MSNBC or something and someone else, and there was this lag that hit. And that lag was the time it takes to go to space, come back down, acknowledge, go back to space, come back down. And it was just enough of like a second lag that you would say something, the person would sit there and go, while they waited for the information to come. The information would come, that lag would result in the person back at the studio start talking again because they didn't want dead air. And as they started talking, then the person they were asking the question of would start talking, and then they would talk over each other. And it was awful. It has gotten a lot better. The technology has gotten better. The lag with processing speeds are there, but they're still like you're not going to get adoption by gamers. because that 100 millisecond lag is enough to kill them if they're gaming, right, online. So we'll see if it works with phone calls, or if we're going to have to be like, talkie, over, and then wait for somebody else to talk, and then they say over, and then you just communicate that way. Jews, Miami, commercial real estate will be an even bigger bloodbath in 2025. I think that is an understatement, as big an understatement as you could possibly have regarding commercial real estate, because it is every single day. Whenever I see it, I repost it, but every single day there's a new building that gets sold at auction for 10 cents on the dollar for what they paid in 2019, right? And these buildings, like downtown Baltimore, there's been two of them so far that I've noticed that have sold for less than $15 a square foot. We're talking modern skyscrapers in a major metropolitan area, less than $15 a square foot. You've had several, like in Portland, Oregon, do the same. Even in places like Houston and Dallas, Texas, and Phoenix, you're having buildings that sold for $200 million selling for $20 million. You had a building in New York this summer that was a $250 million sold for $8 million out in, what was it, near Hudson Yards or something? Just insane. That is just, oh my God, it's just, you don't recover from that. That is a lot of money to just poof into nothing. And where are you going to get it from to make up for it? You're going to crash the economy, and then you're going to have to print. That's what's going to have to happen. Colin, I don't think it's going to be a good year for real estate. No, it is not. Since before, let's discuss theoretical GME options plays for the end of the year. We won't be seeing any collapse until after the election. I'm assuming in December we will start to see a decline. I mean, we can make an assumption there won't be any collapse for the election, but we've seen collapses before the election, right? In 2020, the entire economy collapsed. COVID hit. Economy was in the crapper. No one's making money, right? No one has jobs. 2008, we had the economy collapse a month before the election, and straight up collapse right then. So it could give out. Tomorrow, a bank could be like, I'm insolvent, and then everything just goes from there. We have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. Bank of America is not doing well. Wells Fargo is not doing well. Citibank is not doing well. Community Bank of New York just laid off 700 people. They're not doing well. So the Key Bank, major regional bank, they closed a whole bunch of branches. So any moment you could not see it coming, and it can hit you, and then all of a sudden, oh, wow. Several $1 trillion in value just disappeared. That apparently has been disappeared for months, but everyone was like playing pretend, and rating agencies were ignoring it, just like always. So okay, let's say we lasted through the election before we have any adverse economic factors. What we have coming up in December is a Republican House that will have no desire to renew the debt ceiling or raise the debt ceiling. They put it off for a few months. They did a supplementary funding bill for the government, so they were going to shut the government down about a month ago, and Mike Johnson basically got something together to fund the government till like December 6th. So if we're facing government shutdown, we're facing, insurrection, blah, blah, blah from the election. We're facing bank shutdowns. So we got hundreds of thousands of people furloughed from the government. We've got multiple companies deciding to do weird layoff structures by requiring people to come back to the office. You got Dell Computers being like, everyone has to come back to the office and work 5 days a week. But they knowing full well that a whole bunch of their employees had gone to work from home and moved to cheaper places, and all of a sudden can't get to the office. And this is allowing them to cull expenses and lay off thousands of workers like that. Amazon did something similar, and I think it's kind of a stealth way to cut costs and to lay these workers off without having to do massive layoffs. Like, well, we require them to come to the office, and they aren't coming to the office, so dereliction, right? So I think we're going to still see lots of layoffs in the tech sector. So let's say that all goes puny pop, and come December, we've got a black December where people are out of work and sales are down and blah blah blah. But that results in the SPY dropping, right? And if the SPY is being used as collateral against all these short plays, and those drop, that can cause margin calls on all these short plays. So they've got to sell off their SPY, which causes it to drop more, buy up the short plays, to close those out, which causes the price on those to rise, which can then cause cascading triggers. It becomes a financial meltdown across the entire system. So, yeah, it's totally possible. November is when, I believe it's when the monthlies happen. November, so third week of November is when we see the swaps expire. So in the past, we've had little bumps in November with some big bumps in like 2021. It jumped, I don't know, $100 in that time. So yeah, we can see those big jumps happen in November, especially if the swap cycle still has like lag in it. And again, like, BBBY, turns out BBBY is part of a merger target for GameStop that can do all sorts of weird things to the stock. Yeah. Okay. Colin, GME has some heavier puts around $18, $19 next few weeks. If we drop back down 19, I think it bumps reasonably hard from there. I think it's really hard to get it to 19 at this point. We like touched below 20 last week, and then it was right back. I think it ended up closing at 20.80 last Friday. I think it's hard at this point to get it below 19 because of the amount of cash on hand that they have. That represents like 60% of the entire value of the stock is just cash on hand. When they have, sales and real estate and everything else that is in there. Rose Moon, she's using her stickers. Citizen 54, how do puts work? I never looked at puts besides playing them on paper, trading. What if it goes below the put target? Buy 50 put, stock goes to 40, still make money on it? You make a lot of money on it. You make $1,000 on that put. Rule of thumb is you make $100 per dollar that the stock drops. So basically a put is a contract where you buy a put, and what you're doing is you're buying a contract that will force the other party to buy the stock from you at the strike price if the stock drops below that strike price. So if the stock's traded at $60 and you buy a $50 put and the stock drops to $40, that means they have to buy the stock from you for $50 when you can go buy it in the market for $40. So if that put gets exercised, right, they're paying you $50 for every single one of those shares. So you make $5,000 off that. You get $5,000. And then you go into the market and you buy 100 shares at $4,000 and you give them the shares. And so you collect $1,000 off of it. You can exercise the puts or you can just sell them. Because oftentimes the market makers or the option sellers will just buy it back from you. And so they don't have to worry about having those shares or anything else. Because they don't want them. They were selling those puts originally likely because they didn't think the stock was going to go down and they were making a market for it. So there you go. That's how it kind of works. Colin, I haven't heard about carry trades recently. Yeah. That is interesting. We cut interest rates, federal interest rates at the Fed, but interest rates didn't go up, didn't go down, they went up, which helps out people involved in the yen carry trades. They're like, phew, because like mortgage rates went up, right? Which means other investments that you put your money in are going to still have high interest rates. What the carry trades are is you borrow cheaply in Japan at 1%. You take that money, you put it into things in the U.S. that are paying at 5-6%. The problem is Japan raised their interest rates because their currency was collapsing. You go, oh shit, I'm now paying 2 or 3% in Japan. And if the U.S. has stock problems like big drops or interest rates get cut too much and you aren't earning enough to pay back your loan in Japan, you got to sell your crap in the U.S., go back to Japan, and pay off your loan. And right now, we still have a little bit higher interest rate in the U.S. than they do in Japan, and that's keeping things kind of copacetic at the moment. And there is still a lot of unwinding to be done. There's still probably $15 trillion worth of carry trades that need to be unwound. Yeah. Seagill, I've been buying up UVIX calls as well as with the expiration after the election, bring the volatility. Probably not such a bad idea. Yeah. Jeez, Miami, you're too old to intern at Jane Street. Yeah, Julius posted earlier, Jane Street is looking for interns and paying the interns $250,000 a year. So, so I'll go intern at Jane Street. No experience necessary. They're looking for quants, so you have to have a mathematics background probably. Which means I probably have to go through my applied mathematics book again and relearn a whole bunch of stuff that I've just forgotten over the years. But yeah, not too shabby. I mean, $250K a year, make $20,000 a month to be an intern, getting someone's coffee. Sweet. Yeah. Colin used to be a commercial banker. I wonder if I can intern. Do it. Get in there. Yeah. Okay. Fat cat. Boom. Monkey butt. I'm at the end of I've gotten to the end of the chat like 3 times today. This is unprecedented. How have we gotten into the chat 3 times today? It's because everybody's over on the subreddit. We got the number 3 on the subreddit. We're number 3 right now. Let's see here. Does it pop up on? Learn more. No, that is not what I want. It shows up on the phone. Why does it show up on the... Oh, yeah. Okay. How come they make the web thing so different from the phone apps? On the phone, we're at number 3. I can show that on here. That's pretty insane. Houston Wade. Oh, no, back to number 5. Dang it. We got it all at number 3, and we're back to number 5 in creators and influencers. So, there's the list. You can barely see it there. But Houston Wade is number 5 on the list. So these big ones, PRYUDA posting just got past us. Bummer, man. Oh well. Short-lived. We're number 3 for a while. Colin, any plans this weekend, Houston? Yeah, I got to tear my car apart again. So I got Saturday to tear the car apart, and I just got to remove. I think I just got to just unplug the airbag module, and the electronics should go back to normal, except I'll have the airbag light on, and then I'll die in a crash accident. But it's cheaper than fixing it. So I'll probably just drive around without airbags and that little tiny susceptible convertible until I get something else. I tore it apart. I dried out the module. It was working for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh, it's perfect. And there we go. And then it went right back to fouling up again. And the car won't start because the electronics are all messed up. So I have to unplug it. And it's a pain in the ass because you have to take the procedure to take apart the center console is a couple of hours. And I got it apart. I dried it out. Car was working. I put it all back together. I was like, yes. And the next day, didn't work again. Right back to being a piece of crap. So I got to spend a couple hours on Saturday, take it all apart, unplug that module, and just throw my hands up in the air, put it all back together again, and then go from there. Yeah, so that's my Saturday plans. And then my dad's 88th birthday is coming up next week, and so we're going to celebrate on Sunday. The old man, celebrate the geezer, the legend himself. Adam, lots of BBY stuff happening. There is lots of stuff happening. Lots of little ancillary things, but not the big thing we need yet. Avant Green scooped up 2,000 more no labs this week. People buying the dip on that one. The 25th is next Friday, right? So next Friday they're going to have their conference call or their investors call. They announced that they have they signed a joint venture partnership, which allows them to now meet the requirements for listing on New York Stock Exchange because they were in violation of that. They're developing steering wheels that can measure blood alcohol content to keep drunk drivers from driving. Cool. That works for me. It's better than, like, easier than a breathalyzer. If you're as long as you're driving and they can measure that stuff. It won't matter if you're wearing gloves. Like, I'll wear gloves and I'll mask it. No, you have to wear like lead line gloves at that point. And then the car's gonna be like, I can't measure anything, so it's gonna turn off. Pretty awesome, right, Monkey? Yeah, pretty awesome. Alex Bishop, what's the news on No Labs? That's the news I got. 64 notifications for stream help. We're being suppressed. Are we? You're here. Colin, happy birthday. Thank you. Avant Green, what if Trump and all of his simps leave America after Moas? Wouldn't he fulfill his promise to make America great again? None of them have passports. I mean, Trump can leave, but none of the other guys have passports. They've never traveled in their entire lives. Alex Bishop, can you talk about those gangs that have undercover FBI agents in them? Who were they trying to kidnap last time? That was the kidnapping plot in Michigan. They tried in 2020, I believe. They tried to kidnap the Michigan governor. But the FBI had multiple informants and agents inside their group. I think the number 2 was an informant, the number 3 was an agent, or was the other way around. And the guy who led that little militia group delegated the 2 informant agent people to come up with a plan to kidnap the governor. So they, of course, they go back to the FBI, like, hey guys, let's formulate a plan for this. And they formulated a whole plan that basically was, let's entrap all these people in the giant crime they wanted us to plan, and then arrest them and charge them. And that's what happened. You'll see spin from right-wing people who are like, all the people got off. Well, the people who got off were the ones who were the informants. The people who got convicted were the ones who were working to cause the crime. So, yeah. But ever since the Oklahoma City bombing in 1990, what was Oklahoma City bombing? Like 94, 95? It was anniversary of Waco, right? I think it was 95. Ever since then, we had Ruby Ridge, we had Waco, we had the Oklahoma City federal building bombing. Since those 3 events, the recognition by most administrations, not the Trump administration, but most administrations, was the greatest domestic threat to the United States was these far-right white supremacist and militia groups. And so they've had very, very, very high membership of informants and FBI agents, undercover FBI agents. So, and DEA and ATF and all that stuff, because these groups run drugs, these groups run illegal weapons, dabble in illegal explosives, things like that. So, when the insurrection happened, there was a whole bunch of federal agents in those groups and informants. A lot of guys like in the Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer and Patriot Front and the 3%ers and Oath Keepers. There were FBI agents all over that stuff, which is how they convicted so many of them on conspiracy, obstruction, things like that, because they had people they worked with who kept notes and records and recordings and all those things. So that's why so many people pled guilty. They just pled guilty because they're presented evidence for, like, yeah, the person who you thought was your best friend was an agent in the FBI, and they're testifying against you. Oh shit! I guess I'll plead guilty and spend a couple years in federal penitentiaries. So there's a lot of them. Most of the arrests, like in 2020, the George Floyd protests, you'll see things like, all these liberals burning down their cities. The people who were arrested for arson in 2020, like the burned down the police station in Minneapolis or the AutoZone, all those folks were members of white supremacist paramilitary groups doing false flag operations. Being like, it's a perfect time to start a race war, right? Let's burn down these buildings. Like, there was a dude in Nashville who tried to set off explosives and burn down a federal courthouse. I think it was Nashville. It may have been like Lexington? Somewhere in there. Again, member of a Nazi group. So a lot of the destruction you saw, where buildings were being burnt down, police stations being burnt down, a lot of those were Boogaloo Boys, militia groups, white supremacist groups. You had Those 4 cops that got shot in Las Vegas were Boogaloo boys trying to start a race war, trying to frame George Floyd protesters as the ones that shot the cops. A lot of those dudes are all part of these big groups, and why you have federal agents mixing all them up. Julius says up 10-6 now. The Dodgers make a comeback. Well, heck. Oh, my goodness. Avant Green, any updates on the Andrew Left Citron case? Is he facing 287 years? They were scheduled to start trial in September, and then in August, they postponed it for a year. It looks like their scope is going beyond Citron into Anson Group and Hindenburg Research, who they all work together to do these manipulation plays. And my guess is that they're putting the screws to Andrew Left to implicate all of them, testify against them, because they don't actually care about Andrew Left. He's small time. Citron Research, he's a small time. He means nothing. Yeah, he's a millionaire, whatever. But you get to Anson Group, and all of a sudden you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars. And the people behind Anson Group, if you get Anson Group to turn on their benefactors, then all of a sudden you are into dark money land. You're into, warlords, drug lords, despots, mafia. Like, those people have to put their money somewhere. And they put into offshore accounts. Those offshore accounts then put that money into hedge funds and private equity. And that's how they make cash from all their crimes and make profit from their crimes. And if you can get people like Anson Group start rolling over, you not only get to probably, market makers or the hedge funds that are doing incredible naked shorting stuff, GTS, Concord Annuity, Citadel, etc. But you can also start getting warrants to tap, accounts, phone numbers, residences, etc., on some really, really shady groups connected to terrorists and global crime. And, so Andrew Left is this tiny little cog in this machine. My guess is he'll probably vanish, go into witness protection, and you may never see him again. If he's smart. He goes into witness protection. He takes whatever deal they give him. He testifies, and then that brings charges to the next group. If he refuses to testify or refuses to take that deal and is forced to get convicted, he's going to prison. And they'll send his ass to prison, and then they'll go get somebody at Hindenburg and then force them, charge them with a crime and then force them to testify. But if he does choose to testify, he might have a very short life if he doesn't go into witness protection, because these groups will kill. When we're talking despots and terrorists and drug dealers and warlords and stuff, like those guys don't mess around. They don't want to have paper trails from these financial groups to their financial plays that can bankrupt them. They don't want that at all. So Andrew Left is either going to be dead or in prison. Dead, prison, or witness protection. Those are his 3 options. Since 54, y'all see Trump sitting on a black towel during Fox interview. What the fuck is going on with him? Is he melting in real time? People were saying it was a pee pad. I don't know. Other folks saying it was just his really, really long jacket spread out. So we'll see. Since before, let's read that one. Arias Shadow. Any idea how many 1-year bonds are due in January? What are the effects of that? What it could be? I keep hearing more inflation coming in the U.S., and then I'm trying to figure out if U.S. dollar drops, how that might affect my GME. Usually, if the economy crashes, that's a deflationary event. Meaning, like, people have less money, so they're buying less things, and so gas prices drop, home prices drop, rents drop, right? Because people are out of work, they're not going on vacations, they're not buying new cars. They're not traveling as much. They aren't buying as many toys for their kids. So it becomes a deflationary event. And that's, the economy is too much of a bubble right now to handle how much value is in the stock market and how much money's flowing around, especially with people's like savings accounts shrinking. The market is becoming completely disconnected from people, and that's how you get bubbles. So if the market can't be supported by the people, then the market crashes, people lose their jobs, and becomes a deflationary event. So that's what we're looking at, which means, you know, blue chips drop, and if blue chips drop, then hedge funds get margin called. Hedge funds get margin called, then your GME skyrockets, and your buying power becomes absolutely insane, right? Because the GME skyrockets, you sell at phone book numbers or whatever, and you can take that cash and you can buy everything else that's in the market at a discount because it's deflationary, and you can own huge chunks of the market as a result. So, you know, it probably works out in our favor. Colin thinks it's a suit, but yeah, that's funny still. Aria Shadow. So the best sign of a lack of spending would be Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and lack of sales followed by Christmas reporting, which I guess is quarter four reporting. Yeah, sub may crash even before then if a bank goes down. So yeah, Colin, I should start making a shopping list for that event of crash. I mean, basically, just like if you sold in like November 2007, right? Before we realized that housing was slowing down and stuff, and you just held onto that cash, put it into account, making 5%, whatever interest rates might have been back then, and just sat and waited, and then bought back in March 2009 when the Dow was at 6,000, right? You would 7x your money passively doing nothing, just on the value of the Dow, plus whatever you got off of dividends along the way and reinvested. So you did the same thing with the SPY in March 2009. What was the SPY in March 2009? SPY March 2009. Come on. Load. I want... Okay, I gotta go back 15 years here. That's gonna take a while. Oop, I go there. I go 2009. Bam. End date 2009. Bam. Done. Okay. So SPY. That's September, August. Here, come here. August, May. So the SPY in March 2009, and March 18th was $77. So if I scroll back up, actually, let's make this 01. Done. Okay. So go back to March 2009. We bottomed out at 67. So the bottom of the SPY was $67. We're about to crack 600. And remember, you're gaining after this 25% a year. So if you're reinvesting, you are every 3 years or so, basically, you are doubling your value. So in the last 15 years, you've doubled 5 times. Not too shabby. I bet you would love to purchase a whole bunch of SPY at $67 today and be 10x'd by now, or almost 10x'd. That's pretty bonkers. Oh, Monkey, dude, you are just a poot machine today. What is up? Your insides are awful. It's because I gave you steak? Is that why? Shouldn't happen. Oh my, I'm getting gas out of my room here. That water tastes like farts. Okay. Oh, it's time for me to go. I didn't get to the end today. Well, maybe I did. Josh Pals need an assistant. I wish I could afford an assistant. If I could afford an assistant, that would be wonderful. But until then, here we are. One more Irish Shadow. So Buffett being below the reporting threshold on Bank of America makes me think that would fail in his 2023 report on page 9. 152 says he expects more banks to fail. Oh, banks are going to fail like crazy. They have so much liability right now, like $600 trillion in liability in derivatives alone. It's awful. And D333, did you do your raffle? I didn't do my raffle. I'll do the raffle Monday. Monday. I got to do it then. Okay, I got to go. I'll see you guys. Have a good weekend. I'll see you Monday if I don't do a show like Sunday night or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a... I haven't done a Twitch in a while. Maybe I'll do one of those. Okay. Regular. Oh yeah, send self-addressed envelope to the P.O. Box. I'll send you stickers. I keep forgetting to remind people that. Self-addressed envelope, I send you stickers. Bye. Have a good weekend.